Wildlife Federation's The Hide.
Welcome back, everyone. Mark Kakatsch here at Hotel Meade with the Wisconsin Wildlife Federation's annual meeting. And here on The Hide today, we have an honored, very special guest, DNR Secretary Adam Payne, who is 3.5 months into a life sentence or a new career. And, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I know it's extremely busy. It's Saturday. The wife and family probably want you at home to do something more exciting, I hope. But I'm very thankful that you are here with us today.
I am pleased to be here. This is my backyard, growing up in Plover, and being with the Wisconsin Wildlife Federation today, I'm definitely surrounded by friends and family, so it's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we had George Meyer and Bill Smith yesterday with Eric Loebner, and the common theme and the basis of this podcast is conservation, communication, collaboration. And to say the least, you and Bill are 100% speaking uniformly with a single direction. And that direction is we're going to move forward with building a brand new relationship that's based on positivity, right? It's not red, it's not blue.
Right.
It's conservation.
Yeah.
What can we do to push Wisconsin forward? You shouldn't have 30-year employees making, a subpar wage. You shouldn't have to worry about conservation warden funding. You shouldn't have to worry about, does everybody have clean water, clean air? And in an environment in today's society, these are unacceptable. So it's great to hear we are going to move forward and attack these issues one at a time and as best as we can.
Yeah, I'm just so pleased and honored to be in this role. I've had an interest in this position for years, and I've always had tremendous respect, appreciation for George Meyer. So, as I just shared with the Federation members, that first couple days sitting in that chair and knowing I'm in the same chair that George Meyer was in for over a decade, and one of the most highly regarded, respected DNR secretaries of all time. I knew him when I was in my 20s, and I'm so pleased that he's still a leader in conservation and available to be a mentor and for me to bounce things off of. But I'm really excited about this. It very quickly went to the shock and awe of the appointment. Let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. And in some ways, it doesn't feel that different to me than county administrator in Sheboygan County for 24 years, because that was a very diverse, complex organization, 19 different departments from A to Z, law enforcement, health and human services, land and water conservation, you name it. And so very complex. You can't understand all of it, but you have to be surrounded by good people. So first and foremost, having worked for a county board for 24 years, I was interested to see what the policy-making role of the Natural Resource Board would be like. And just a fresh breath of air to see Bill Smith as our new chairman. He's so professional, he's kind, he's thoughtful, and he has wonderful experience to draw upon. So Bill and I just immediately have connected and developed a nice relationship. And of course, we're seeing some new members, some new faces on the Natural Resources Board. And we may have different roles, but we have similar goals. And this is a good group of people. So I really think the relationship with the Natural Resource Board and the DNR is going to be as strong as it's ever been.
Well, hopefully, one of the things that we told Bill is that we want some of the other folks from the board to come on the podcast and tell their story and tell the reason why conservation, wildlife, and habitat is so important to them. And I hope that we can grow this relationship as well, where you can have your folks come here, whether it be clean air, clean water, right? Fishing, it doesn't matter.
We need to tell our story more
Correct.
Effectively. Our agency, the Department of Natural Resources, is it's such an important organization. It's so dedicated to the protection of natural resource protection and enhancement. Passionate people, knowledgeable people. They're there because they want to be there. They really care about what they do. But we need to support them. We need to lift them up. We need to pay them a fair wage. And as I look at the history, the last 10 years or so of the agency, we don't have quite the same staffing numbers. We haven't kept up with cost of inflation. And how do you recruit and retain the best and the brightest if you're not?
It's impossible.
I look at our conservation wardens in particular, the critically important work they do. They're so highly regarded across the state, yet they're not being paid fairly for what they do. So we need to do something there. And as you mentioned at the onset, Mark, working in collaboration, pulling together. That's how I roll. That's how I lead. It's about pulling people together, listening to concerns, finding common ground, and then going after it and getting it done. So I'm excited about this because there's just so many good staff, so many conservation and environmental organizations that are hungry to continue the good work that the state's done for generations, but there's a lot of challenges ahead of us with water quality, wildlife habitat, information education, engaging our youth, and we're not going to make that continuous progress, that continuous improvement, unless we pull together, and I'm optimistic we will.
Well, you've been here for 3.5 months, and you probably met your senior leadership team and most even your middle management team here at the department. You have a great team to work with.
Yes, I do.
Right? And I think that great team is looking for that great leader. And I think, from the folks that I've spoken to, they feel they have this person in place now. So the stakeholder groups, they are looking to see the future, as bright as it seems to be right now, come to fruition and all of the great things that Wisconsin has to offer. So let's hit a couple things that are on your agenda.
Sure.
And, let's start with the standard outdoor hunting, fishing, trapping community, and we can move through the list and just cover a few today. And I have one big one that I'd like to finish on, so we'll see if we're on the same page at the end of the story.
Sure. Well, the hook and bullet, the Wisconsin Wildlife Federation, I mean, everyone who likes to get out there and hunt, fish, trap, whatever it may be, but I grew up doing those things, so I can absolutely relate to their passion for it and just how important it is to your family and to your heritage and what you want to pass on to your kids, your grandkids, what you want future generations to enjoy. So I think we have a responsibility to be mindful of taking care of our natural resources and making sure those opportunities are there for the next generation. So folks don't have to twist my arm when it comes to a recognition for the appreciation of hunting, fishing, trapping, but cross-country skiing, hiking, bird watching, whatever it may be. Get out in the outdoors. It's good for your health. It's good for your mental health. It's just good all around. And the more people appreciate our natural resources, the more they get engaged, the more likely they are to become champions to support it and work together, build stakeholders, collaborative approaches to make sure that we can pass it on for generations to come. So it's really important to me.
And I think, it seems at times we get tunnel vision, but it's important to understand that consumptive and non-consumptive users have an obligation together to further the cause of conservation. We manage our properties and our environment together, not individually.
Right.
And I think when we can go to non-consumptive user groups and say, hey, look, we need your help, and we will help you. But we need to do this together. ICF has recently joined the Federation, and folks will come and say, well, how come the ICF wanted to join the Federation, and how come the Federation went to ICF and said, please join our organization? And it's simple. We need to work together, and we need to make sure that we are protecting the resource properly. And I think that type of mentality is imperative, and it's nice to see that now that the department, the Natural Resources Board, and the stakeholder groups have clear direction and leadership together. And I think that leads into clean air. How is the department going to work forward with clean air?
Right. And those are discussions I've had with legislators. I've had a visit with all the senators because I have my confirmation hearing. Oh, actually, I have, but the final vote, right? The confirmation needs to be confirmed for me, and the vote needs to be taken. In any regards, meeting with our senators, it was really, I enjoyed it. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone has a different point of view. I heard some people who had some concerns about the DNR and how things have maybe been done in the past, but I didn't meet one legislator who didn't look me in the eye and tell me, well, water quality wasn't important, or wildlife habitat isn't important, or public safety and the work our conservation wardens do isn't important. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for common ground, but we need to spend a little less time dealing with the partisan and what rolls into those discussions, and just focus on what's in front of us, how much we all love this state and care about this state, and make sure that we're improving it and taking care of our resources. Working for the Department of Natural Resources and helping lead this department, it shouldn't be partisan.
Well, this is a perfect example to look at our political resources that we have in the state. The senators, the legislators, because honestly, when you look at what's on the table right now, it would be very hard for me to see that this not be a unanimous decision, because those who vote against confirmation here, they're going to have to come up, in my eyes, with some pretty good reasons why. And you don't have to say anything, that's on me, but this is the first time in a long time that I can look at the Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources and the Chair of the Natural Resources Board focused on the same goals. And that is important.
Yeah.
And, to share the non-blue, non-red mentality, we need to get past that or nothing is going to get done.
And it's important that the governor and the legislature focus and work on the same goals. I'm really proud to work for Governor Evers and humbled by this opportunity because he cares about water quality. He cares about natural resources. He's put his money where his mouth is, and he's made significant proposals, investments to move the ball forward. And as I said, when I was talking to many senators, our legislature cares about natural resource protection and enhancement too. They absolutely do. And it's going to take all of us to pull together. And I'm just going to bring the same leadership style that was effective in Sheboygan County. And that is, it's not about me or I, it's about all of us, and putting aside partisan politics and focusing on the challenges and moving the ball forward, getting the job done, and we're going to help make good things happen. I'm really
Winners
feeling
want
good.
the ball. Winners want the ball, and there's plenty of room for people on both sides of the fence to step up and be a hero. And it starts with playing together on a team, right? So, listen, I know you're busy today, and the commitment to come back on future shows and corralling Bill Smith so we can sit down and hopefully Taylor Finger can be back, but let's talk about something that's near and dear. So I come from Milwaukee. I was born and raised in Bayview. It took a minute to make it outside to Oconomowoc, and now I live in Dodge County with my wife and family. But one of the things that is key growing up in a major metropolitan area is clean water.
Right.
And seeing what happened across the Great Lake and seeing what is happening in Wisconsin, from Milwaukee to Ashland to La Crosse to countless cities, we need to focus on how are we going to get clean water. And you said a few minutes ago that every citizen of this state should not have to worry about taking a drink of water. They shouldn't have to go to the store and get a bottle of water to wash their hands.
Right.
So going forward, you have the Federation's commitment. And let's hear from the department side how we're going to attack some of those things in clean water.
Yeah. Mark, you think about what you're passionate about in life. You're passionate about your family, your kids. You're passionate about getting out bow hunting or duck hunting or whatever it may be. But how can you not be passionate about making sure that everybody is clean drinking water?
It affects everybody.
It affects everybody.
Nobody is left out.
And we're in a point in this country. I mean, it's not just Wisconsin. It's national. It's worldwide. I mean, there are pollutants like PFAS or nitrates or other pollutants that are in people's water. And it saddens me we're at the situation that we're having to spend the time and resources and energy now to try to respond to this and improve the situation. But it is what it is. These are the cards that have been dealt. And I am absolutely passionate, and I know our agency is passionate about this. And I like to believe most people will be and are, particularly if they're engaged, that we have to be better prepared to respond to people's needs, to respond to communities' needs. Over a third of our residents in the state rely on a private well, as do I, as does my family. And many of us, it's probably a little out of sight, out of mind. How many of us are taking the time to have it tested? I'm guilty as charged. And if we determine, or you learn personally, or something happens in your community that it is polluted, what are we going to do about it? And when someone calls the Department of Natural Resources especially a private well owner, and they've got kids in the house, and they say, I just learned that my well is polluted with PFAS, or whatever it may be. I do not want our answer to be at the Department of Natural Resources. Well, thanks for contacting us. We'll get back to you. I want our answer to be, this is what we're going to do to help address your problem and work with you to problem solve. But in order to do that, you have to have resources. You have to have resources available, dollars available to respond, and you have to have people available to respond. And the DNR has a lot of wonderful staff, and we certainly do have some resources, but we aren't geared up to the extent we need to be to effectively respond to those individual well owners. And then I also think about all these communities that have their own wastewater treatment facilities. They're providing municipal water. Something happens there, and they need to upgrade their infrastructure. They need to put better filtration systems in place, whatever it may be. That can be millions and millions of dollars, and that can take time to get done in a small community, yet alone a large community. I want the Department of Natural Resources, I want this state to be able to respond to those situations and help. And again, there are some good things happening. We're seeing some federal dollars coming our way for this. We're seeing some state proposed dollars, so it's in the hopper, it's being discussed. But for your viewers, well, what about all these federal dollars that are coming? They don't apply to all situations, and sometimes it might be a cost share of 50, 60, 70%. Yeah. Well, when you're talking millions and millions of dollars for a small community, they need some additional help and resources to meet that gap. So right now, all the things going on at our agency, all the things that we care about, it's tough for me to say that there's any one area more important than making sure that we protect our water and that we respond to people's needs and that we can make sure people have safe, clean drinking water.
Well, the Federation, I hope has your back on this and 100% support. And like I just said, we're looking for a few heroes out there politically to help challenge this, to help provide these situations the success story that they so desperately need. So we will take this fight together. We will round up all the other stakeholder groups, and it's imperative that we win this battle and that we help you prepare and execute your plan.
Yeah, well, it's about all of us. And I'm encouraged, but I really think our legislators need to hear from people, because whenever you're expending tax dollars, of course, they have to balance that with all the other needs, and they want to be fiscally responsible, and I respect that role. But there again, the argument of taking care and responding to people's needs, helping people in need when it comes to water, I can't think of a higher priority right now. So I appreciate your leadership and the Wisconsin Wildlife Federation's leadership, and it's going to take all of us, but I think we're going to get some good things done.
We will champion this course. We have to.
Yeah.
For our kids' sake, for our grandchildren's sake, for our great-grandchildren's sake. So listen, I know you have to hit the happy trail, but I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to join us, one, and be a speaker at our annual meeting, but two, taking the time to sit down and talk with me on the podcast. And we will do everything we can to support you, get this out to everybody. And whatever you need from us, we're a phone call away, an email away, and we will be there to support you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity,
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Chase Baker for manning the cameras and making this a presentable show, because if I was doing it, would not be the case. Thank you so much. We appreciate everything. We'll see you at the next episode. Have a great day.